back for the third and final set today of, well, it's Friday. I almost forgot what day it was, Kresnik, as we came for. That's how long
we've been
these sets
here
have
for a
been
while.
going. And you know, I don't know if you can feel it. Chat, I don't know how often you guys talk for this long. Honestly, I don't even know if what we do can qualify as regular talking for this long. But you can start to feel it in your throat. I'm at that point right now. Water is going to be my best friend. I got a full glass, fresh made. I stood up and stretched there in that break, and we're moving forward to what I expect will also be a good set here in North America.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. This is the kind of clash of the Titans that we wouldn't have called that before this week, because looking at this, it's like, oh yeah, the number 4 team from last split and the number 5 team if you're looking at it from relegations, but this is going to be a 6 set. I mean, Pickled Pepper has looked great against all the teams they've played. Snappin' also has looked, I think, fantastic with their new additions, reincarnated. And you mentioned his name earlier, so I'll remind you, Stigma will be playing for them, so we might see some Ice Mines Knessa action. But Pickled Pepper care, and they look at their draft, they try to kind of bend the meta, so I wouldn't be shocked to see them just get rid of it just because they're playing against Stigma.
Well, I already see people in chat saying that with a name like Pickled Pepper, if either A, they don't pick up I don't know, wherever I was going with
the joke I made week 1
through.
was that Pickled Pepper picked up Peter Piper. So it's already been made. We can run it into the ground if you like. We have plenty of weeks to do that.
Nah, I think I've already goofed it up here. We can run it into the ground some other week. But I did see the second note, which was if they aren't playing Pepper, then why name yourselves that? So we'll have to see if maybe we get some Pip play there, and using the Pepper skin could maybe change things up for them. But
we'll definitely see some different
throw my
stuff.
sincere doubts out there.
Yeah, what I will say to start is we'll see some different stuff. Pickled Pepper are a unique team, and I think Snappin' is too, so we're going to see some pretty out there drafts. I do have the map bans for you, though. Snappin' are higher seeds, so they get the first pick for this in map bans, and they've chosen to ban Bazaar and Frog, so 2 sniper maps. And on the other side, Fish Market and Warder's Gate gotten rid of by Pickled Pepper, which puts us onto Splitstone as map 1 of this set, and we can zoom right over into the picks and bans as I make it so you can see that right now, right? Just making absolutely sure you can see the game, and now you should be able to see it. So we get that going. So first ban for them. I mean, these are teams that I feel like they have to scrim a lot. They're both kind of the teams that are pushing the meta game right now in North America, so I think they have probably a good idea of what each team wants, and Strix will be first, so targeting that from Pickled Pepper on Splitstone, a map where snipers can do quite a bit if you don't have control of the quarry side.
Yeah, I think this is a map. I think it's actually interesting you highlighted 2 sniper maps banned. The first one we end up going to is a sniper map. And, of course, both of them taken away. But, I mean, Victor, Vivian, strong here. Hit scan usually picked up. But there's also bleacher comps like Bomb King, Grover that could potentially come through and maybe make a big change. So we'll have to see if Snappin' or Pickled Pepper are feeling themselves. Well, at least in those terms. Torvald, of all things, banned away.
Yes.
Not something I expected to see today, Kresnik.
You will see it probably banned or picked every game this set. I'm going to tell you that right now. Torvald right now is this great... Dive is kind of shot up in North America and scrims and in general in the meta, and you're picking Torvald as this not only counter dive champion, but as this second support. Let's say they ban Corvus, you get Genos. Get Torv too. Torv's got that pocket. Torv also is anti-dive. Has a solid ultimate as well. He really fills in, and no one was willing to experiment with him until Pickled Pepper kind of said, hey, we have good DPS. What if we made them better? Oh, we're winning everything. Sick.
That's, hey, good for them. And Torv 2, like you said, better than Torv 1. He's evolved. He's grown. And either way, banned away, Corvus going to be the first pick right here. I'm interested to see the DPS, though, for either Pickled Pepper or for Snappin'. Again, I feel like Victor tends to take precedence on here once you see the snipers taken away. But just as quickly as I say that, I forget the other one, Androxus. Probably one of the stronger flanks on this map. And even though we got to see them a little bit there and throughout the day, Evie and Maeve used to be stellar on this map. Don't know if we're going to be seeing them too much.
Yeah, it depends on how many hit scanner in the game, honestly, I would say, for whether they pull that out or not. With Zin and Rom also picked up for Snappin', so an aggressive core that they have. Woodknock loves his Rom. I wouldn't be shocked to see it run solo here with Zin to follow up and get very aggressive with it. They have that core potentially, but Pickled Pepper have a chance to run away from it. They might just draft a very mobile, flank-heavy composition, would be my guess, but actually complete opposite in Aura. So immobile, tank, going to sit there and just cap while Rom does whatever, and this might pressure Snappin into needing somebody to stand on that objective and keep that up and match what Pickled Pepper are bringing.
I've always loved what Pickled Pepper can do, mainly because in this case, right, Anara surrounded by a Victor. He's not going to be moving a whole ton, but he's going to provide our kind of artillery cover from the back line. Andrew's just going to run around and do whatever he wants, and the rest of the team is just going to dare you to come at them. Maeve picked up. Happy to see her. And Shaolin, once again, peeking his head in here. And since most of the other hit scan, it's kind of Leon, Shaolin, or Cassie, which one you're feeling better with. And Snappin, elect for that Sha. So Pickled Pepper, I'm still personally leaning towards their draft, but there is definitely going to be something to work against here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Stigma has been loving the Sha. I have been, unfortunately, on the receiving end of it in ranked, and it quickly made me realize how damn good Sha is right now. He actually, oh man, a side note, he actually airshot my Eevee while she was flying off the map with a cripple arrow, and she just fell to her death on Frog Isle.
Oh no.
Well, she was sort of like, yeah, when that happens, you kind of just give up at that point. Stigma kind of sick with it on this Shaolin, and this Maeve Zin will get pretty aggressive here. They'll cross a lot of ground with that ROM and kind of leave Stigma alone on the shot to poke things down. But double sustain. I was a little worried about the Inara Genos combination from Pickled Pepper, but they will have the Grover to back it up and give them some extra poke as well in the roots to stop potentially this ROM just running all over them.
Well, the question is, if you can stop him from not only running all over you, but just stomping you into the ground repeatedly here on split stone quarry. Almost forgot the qualifier at the beginning. Stone quarry, a split stone. If you're not splitting stones in the quarry, then you're doing something wrong, I guess. Either way, it's gonna look good for them. I did see a point raise. Maybe I'll ask you as we move forward. But Grover locked in at the end.
Yes.
I think he works well on this map. But notably, maybe able to flex that into a different tank instead of a support. Maybe is the synergy between Grover, Genos, and Nara stronger than something like Ash and Nara, Genos?
I think having the extra bit of sustain helps you quite a bit against the, I would say, aggressive potential. Because Ash can go in, but with who, right? Just the Andy, and I think the Andy kind of wants to be off to the side on the dive to counteract that. Because they have this double flanker, they have this ROM, they're going to get aggressive because there's really no other way for them to handle it. Have Andro there to poke the Maeve down, duel that, maybe let your Victor focus on whoever else he can duel. That can help significantly. I think having that extra support right now is a strong way to play this map, especially when you can dive into the back. But, I mean, Shaw's going to be on high ground. If you're Ash, what are you really doing?
That's going to be the question, I guess. Well, it won't be the question here because Ash isn't in the game. But Stigma, as you called it, on the Shaolin. Evil Eye there on Maeve. Whew, that's two names on two champions that I don't want to see if I'm loading into game, and I'm sure Pickled Pepper may be feeling the same way. Snappin coming in with that sort of advantage, but Pain on Victor, maybe just as scary. Wonderful, Skeppy, Feel, and Legacy. Throwing out the rest of that, and this is a composition, all of which have found some sort of win on LAN. A couple of them, as you can see, have that world champion title, and at that point, you're just flexing, but that is something they have earned the hard way. They went through. And I think a lot of them are well, just players, and as a team, a whole thing to deal with. It's going to be difficult for Snappin to overcome.
Yeah, just as a reminder for those of you who don't know, Feel FPS is Shu from the team Elevate. And I believe Hype Unit later, I believe that they got picked up and were Hype Unit. So Shu, the world, that's where he has the world champion from. He's not just some dude who stole someone's world champion title. He does have it legitimately and was a top tier support on PCL back then. To this standard thing here. ROM early with Maeve on the far right side. Actually, literally no one in core is opening things up for them. And Wonderful has to use all his cooldowns immediately. If they pounce on Wonderful right now, he will fall apart. They have the luxury to with Emmett Payne putting up so much damage from up top. But I guess they have Reincarnated to do it instead. Wonderful wastes all his cooldowns and falls.
A couple of MVPs there for Wonderful as well. So maybe a crucial kill to start things off. Gonna be able to find it and have no issues. Good shots that are going to be able to find this. Reincarnated, a little low, but it doesn't seem to be slowing him down. Skeppy taken to the high ground, 27-9, not a high percentage game just yet. Inara already back and ready to join the fight. And again, it feels like Pickled Pepper are in the position to just say, hey, you come into us, and we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, That means that Wonderful is going to be taking the brunt of this damage, and that is the second time he has died so far this game. Still, no one on Snappin standing on the point, though. It's not really worth all these deaths if you can't get anything out of it.
If they can just keep backing up and resetting on point, they can get it, but Pain. Huge track there onto Evil Eye, and Woodknock kind of alone right now here, but he almost has Cataclysm. Losing 2, he can't really afford to spend this now, so just throws his life away. I don't know if he can get away, lifted by Genos. He even so much ult charge as well.
Well, now, once again, Wonderful moving in, 42 to 15. Woodknock, well, gonna get knocked down, and he's not gonna get up again, at least not this time around. Good wall as well there. To make sure this main Evil Eye can't get in. Unfortunately, it will disappear eventually. Good damage onto Skeppy. Not enough to find the kill, but almost erased right there. Good shots from Stigma up on the high ground. 75 to 42. Pickled Pepper, as well as Snappin, taking it slow, recognizing the pressure they have and trying to play around it. Good shot coming down, or look to be good, but the ult's starting to ring true. Whirlwind use, Seismic Crash use there. Through time and space, looking to ring true, but Reincarnated is going to be the first one to fall. Shots good from Skeppy to find a second one of them all. 81 to 78 now. Corvus trying to lock some people down. A lot of damage, not a lot of kills coming down. The tanks alive under bleachers. Woodknock trying to run around and stay alive. 2250 for his health bar. How much can that really help when Emmett Payne is looking you down? And that is going to be point number 1. Took a little while to kick off, but Pickled Pepper finally sealed the deal.
Yeah, I think that pick onto Reincarnated was actually huge, because Reincarnated, it was right behind his counter, basically perfectly placed by Skeppy to follow up on that. Pickled Pepper with the verticality of the Andro could be able to keep this going. Actually, they could even have Wonderful climb up, but don't think they want to afford that against Woodknock here. Immediately deleted. Root onto him as well, so no DR basically to keep it going. Keep the snowball up with Woodknock a little bit disconnected. Still 3 people up, but a lot of damage from Snapman could turn this around if the shots connect.
Well, a good nade. Well, what looked like to be a good nade. Not going to find any damage. A couple of shots there. Just a warning from the Victor. Barrage coming back up. A lot of the ults. Looking to recharge here for Pickled Pepper. They come around this last corner and getting peppered with a lot of damage. It's going to be, once again, Wonderful. Locked down. Double kill for Reincarnated. Looking to try and make it 3. Too much damage in return. Finds that last hit anyway. Gets the third. And now the aggression is on. With Wonderful down, no one is available to push that payload forward. 1 minute and 20 seconds. You're looking to defend it all, but it's a good start for Snappin.
Yeah, they could. I was gonna say they could move forward and try to take their high ground, but I guess not really wanting to do it with what they have. So they'll sit back and take the solid defensive positioning where only Androxus can really climb up and pressure them up on high. See how the poke works for them. Pain, a lot of damage quickly onto Evil Eye there. Has to back up and get healed by the Corvus. But even if they take poke, Corvus will heal them back up quickly, but not quickly enough. Pain finds it.
Well, that's going to be a good opening kill. Grenade looking to go deep. Not to find anything. In fact, speaking of deep, look where Evil Eye is in here in the back line. Almost able to find a kill. The dagger's not ringing true just yet. We're not going to go down, and that's the chase down from Skeppy. Finds the kill. He's locking down Snappin as of right now. Payload's regressed. Not many places Stigma to run away there in that stealth, so our sight might fail us, but the bullets still ring true. That's going to be the kills for Pickled Pepper. Now the lockdown just outside of the base. They're coming around the last corner. 20 seconds, a little bit of low health bar, but it looks like they could get away with this, Crescent.
Yeah, definitely a little shocked that he wanted to use that heat haze there, but doesn't matter now. Whirlwind keeps everybody topped off. Good use by Feel. There's his whole team, and there's really nowhere safe for Woodknock to go. He has to run in, but an Accursed Arm on the other side finds Stigma up top.
Oh, the Accursed Arm, like you said, coming through, helps find 1 kill, but they lose 2 in the process. Overtime still going. Wonderful versus the world, it feels like. On the front line, healing going to be good. He has to step off. Overtime not going down too fast, but no one is there to supplant him. They're going to be able to get the touch, but they just don't have the health bar to withstand the damage. Snappin looking to find their defense at the very end. And make sure this one goes long. 1-1 so far. I think exactly what you can sit down and expect from the rest of this set.
I'm actually surprised. I didn't notice that Bones hadn't died yet this whole game. Just being able to live even through the pressure that was coming after Pickled Pepper, all that damage. I think Snappin, this is a hard game for Evil Eye. I think it's a really hard game for Evil Eye on him. Not just because he's 1-6 right now, but just look at what he's playing into. I mean, I don't know if Skeppy, I'm assuming he's on controller for this. I know he does kind of go back and forth with it. but it's 2 hit scan DPS playing very strong in the meta hit scan DPS, and you're on Maeve, and you don't have any intangibility. You just have your movement, which these players are going to track you. They're going to be able to follow it and burn you down. So hard game for Evil Eye. He basically has to just follow up on what Stigma's doing, and they have 2 healers, so that might not happen until the end of the game. Shoot the items really quick. No Cauterized 3 other than Reincarnated just yet, so a lot of pressure on this Xin to make the opening for Evil Eye to follow up on.
We'll have to see if they can find any interesting shots or interesting starts to this round, since Evil Eye hasn't been able to follow up too much on any kills just yet. Midnight's available, and that's always a good either re-aggressor, aggressor, defender, whatever you want it to be. Once you pop that ult, it's good for you. Legacy has his ult though, and we've already seen 1 triple kill come out from a Genos ult, so we'll have to see if maybe he can find that. Unfortunately, it's not going to get locked down just yet. Evil Eye will fall back, or get aggressive there, I should say. Midnight used. Didn't quite get the kills I think they expected out of it. In fact, they took a lot of damage in the process of that Midnight. Now they're dancing awkwardly around, snapping, trying to get back there, but it's 33-6. Very slow point fights for him. Not a lot of focus on the objective itself, which maybe is actually hurting Snappin' right now.
I think it was a really interesting way that they played it. Bones was the one who kind of sat back and captured the objective, while his entire team flanked. Corvus doesn't really need line of sight, only 1 person, and he had that with Evil Eye. Now turning this around, Stigma goes down to the seismic crash while they hold the point. Snappin' 4v4 the kill earlier, and Legacy time and space misses, and that's a tool that they really wanted to keep this fight on their side.
Well, shots are still ringing true, and once again, the amount of pressure Snappin' put on the point comes back to bite them. They could have potentially won in all that time they were in control, and nobody moved forward to stand on the objective. Long range, favoring Pickled Pepper makes it harder for them to do it, but it also means this. You find yourselves winning most of the fights, but still losing 96-54 on the point. Zenit Pain looking to get aggressive with your Stigma running some shots true. Finds Skeppy. His Evil Eye's looking for his target. It's the Victor that he wants, but it's not going to be the Victor that he finds. 99 now to 84. They've moved in now, standing on the objective, and they should be able to take this point and find themselves the lead.
Yeah, no mobility really to get in there unless Skeppy decides to do it. No, he is way too far back. Not going to make that move. Had to disengage and snap it. I loved the way that they played it. They had every single DPS go back, so that the stacking up top didn't really end up working out in the long run for Pickled Pepper, forcing them to have to adapt, and couldn't do it in time even with a point retake. So now we'll see how they use the defense. Will they just keep deathballing, spam them down? They could just hold back and use their range to win in the fight here, but they're stacking on the side of Snappin', but they don't see Skeppy hiding in the corner, and the Accursed Arm cleanses the Midnight.
It's going to be good shots from this Accursed Arm. Not going to be able to find the kill on its own, but it doesn't matter. Skeppy follows up with enough damage to find himself a triple, looking for a 4th unofficial quad on the defense here. And that's all you need if you're Pickled Pepper to buy you some time. Although we saw earlier, sometimes a quad doesn't buy you enough. So there's still going to be work to be done here from Pickled Pepper to make sure this doesn't go in.
Honestly, Woodnock could have used the Cataclysm there, I think, to get a couple of kills, but just didn't. Did anyone spot him? Legacy's trying to spot it now, but Woodnock in behind, unseen, now noticed. But he's pulling the ball back. He's making so much room when he drops.
Oh, that's going to be sick.
When it gets blocked by the reversal.
That's just well played from Pickled Pepper to stop that one. Looked like it could have been one of the best ults we've seen from Aram so far. Now he's dashing in. Low health, Void gripped up and held down. Still alive? No, not anymore. Woodnock knocked out of there. That's going to be good kills. Stigma getting chased down. Unfortunately for Snappin', it feels like their aggression not paying off. What could be good ults hasn't been working. We'll have to see if this Heat Haze continues that trend. So far, not finding too much here for Stigma. That's going to be a little bit of a deficit for him. 2 ults down, 3 ults that have been used totality. Since Midnight not available just yet. So they're still looking here for the next 40 seconds to try and figure out how to get past this last corner.
I love this chaos that Snappin's been utilizing. But they're not playing so unsafe. They're always waiting for the person to be in the back, and that's how you have to play it. They're never really too out of sync. Look at this. Now they're collapsing on Skeppy. They force his dashes. Pickled Pepper back into this death ball. And the Yomi damage is so much right now. They can't peel for Legacy. Reincarnated is so aggressive.
And right there, outside the door, locked down. You can't get back to defend that one or heal it off. Good damage coming down from Reincarnated to make sure nobody's going to be able to jump down. That payload's so close, and finally, with Wonderful gone, they're going to find that conversion. Snappin' on their map pick up 3-1. Pickled Pepper with comeback mechanic. It's been dangerously close for Snappin' a lot around these points, so this could be a fight they're going to have to pay a lot more attention to or they could lose.
Bones just got his first death, too, on the side of him at Pain when they committed for that last fight. I just noticed, by the way, I mean, Skeppy was doing well earlier. He's 16-4 right now. It's kind of an absurd stat line for being down 3-1 on Splitstone. Skeppy's really been keeping it in for them, but you can tell the way that Pickled Pepper playing this map, they're just deathballing their entire core, but someone has to contest the objective. So Wonderful's doing it, and that's why his death count is so much higher than everybody else's. He's the only one really presenting himself out there in front of everybody, and Snappin are getting super aggressive and dying for it, but they're picking off Pickled Pepper when it matters. They're now actually playing on the low ground. I don't know if they expected this because Woodknock's committing into the middle of them, but they didn't have the CC to stop him because of the Midnight.
Yeah, now it's going to be a lot of aggression. Reincarnated first to go down. No trades except on the Skeppy. That 16-4 looked good, but right now it's Evil Eye. That looks a little bit better. They're finding the kills they need. Woodknock able to pick one up on the tail end of that. Even chasing down the Grover right now. They do not want to give up the pressure they have on this point. Only 30% so far. They're going to have to continue finding this, but with that amount of staggered kills, looks like they're going to have a little bit of time to get this into the 70s, maybe even 80s for Snappin before anybody re-aggresses. Skeppy already had to use the reversal.
This Reincarnated actually slowed them down, but ran away immediately, and Pickled Pepper have retaken their position, and the way that Snappin have drafted this, they can't stand on point right now. And Woodknock is a little bit isolated, but he might just be distracted for Evil Eye, actually. Running on the side is him, and this Death Ball will kill Woodknock. I know Evil Eye just a little bit too slow, can't make the most of it, and they heard his mount, so he's going to get hunted down.
Oh, they're chasing him. The question is whether or not they can find the damage. The shots ringing right behind him. Skeppy, though, gives up the shots. Legacy is firing some a little bit his way. Pain going to be able to get the kill on the Bones, and that's going to cause some trouble. No support means no healing. No healing means tanks have trouble. And, well, they've already been not paying enough attention to the point for my liking, and they're going to lose this one out thanks to the comeback mechanic. Woodknock doing his best to win a fight here, but they're going to get taken down. Well played by Pickled Pepper to stay alive.
Yeah, their comp definitely works out when that little delay happened around the outside Evil Eye. I mean, he had to mount all the way. There's no way they could live any longer, so Pickled Pepper, the defensive play ends up working out for them. In the end, when they are kind of clumped so close together, it's going to be a little harder on the offense when they can get easily surrounded, I think, by what they're doing. The Woodknock already mounting close to the side. Wall doesn't actually block this off, and he can follow up with Reincarnated because no one with CC is available to stop it.
I mean, you get aggressive like that, and like you said, with no CC to slow him down. And the ring crew stalled once again in that halfway point, that archway. Standard stopping point here on Splitstone Quarry, so maybe not the worst case scenario for Pepper. That might be one of the worst case scenarios, though. You lose your Genos in the blink of an eye, and now you're starting to lose everybody thereafter. Grover trying to stay alive here, but Fuel can only do so much. There it goes, Shu, one last time. Pickled Pepper looking to try and figure out how to get back into this. They've had no problem fighting back into Snappin, though, so I expect them to fall back, heal up, and come back in just as strong.
Again, all cooldowns used by Wonderful, but no one's really available to push. Yeah, I was going to say Woodknock might be running in, but he holds back and actually doesn't follow up with Reincarnated, so they lose 2 DPS for Snappin. Woodknock just has to get some soul fragments, but wants to just burn down Skeppy. But does a lot of damage potentially here. He can't really run with Legacy coming for him, so he just accepts his fate to get on that respawn timer as the rest of Snappin are settling up here to make this fight happen. They could spend ults, but I don't think you want to at this point. I think you potentially let them go through, deny that single comeback mechanic on the next minute and have as many resources as possible. Reincarnated, what level of Blade Dance is he running again? Blade Dancer, it's only 3. I feel like he is shooting off of these ledges every single time he dashes, but I guess it's enough just to stay alive. 3 of them pulls them back, but nothing really able to be gained in front because of it.
Well, now it's actually going to end up going the opposite way. I was thinking you're going to see Pickled Pepper start to plant their feet, but instead they're pushed back 2 kills at the prime time. The round looks like it should go the way of Snappin'. And again, for anyone who's tuning in that might not know, you can't win off a defense. You can only win the game off of a point capture or a payload conversion here. And so that 4th point going to have to get earned the hard way by Snappin' with control of the mid, either in this next fight or, if they're lucky, the one after.
Yeah.
I guess that's if they're unlucky, realistically.
I was gonna just let it rock. I wasn't gonna to rock the boat on that one. Ultimates, I think, have to be strong for Pickled Pepper. With the way that they're playing, I think they're just gonna get Wonderful burn down on point. They can't really give her great healing when they're all sitting so far back. They're relying so much on Pain and Skeppy to win these fights for them. It feels so weird looking at the numbers and looking at the KDs and saying why Pickled Pepper are the team at a deficit right now with the stat lines that they have, but just the nature of the comps. When the dive is big, it's huge and they make a lot of space. But again, they play inside. Woodknock over here kind of just fighting into them, and then Midnight to follow this up, but he can't stop because of the whirlwind. He's just sitting in the core of them.
Can't stop, won't stop. 3-man stun. That's what you need to try and turn it around, but with no follow-up, it doesn't matter how low they are. The damage isn't going to be enough. Woodknock goes down alongside Evil Eye there, and Stigma looking to try and turn something around. Gets Legacy and looks for the follow-up damage. Good shots, but not enough to find the kill. It's all coming up Pickled Pepper as of right now. As long as they keep this amount of pressure on, this payload, or I'm sorry, this point is already in their favor. 58% and rising. Not much you can do to fight back in. One more chance for Snappin' to find their way to this point.
Woodknock will be able to fight here. He will touch the point, but it's about what happens after that that's important. Genos is there for the lift, so he actually cancels the dash, so lift doesn't stop it. That would deny him from doing some other stuff, but he's just trying to buy time. Evil Eye's in the back, but again, he just can't live against this death ball that Pickled Pepper brought to the table.
Oh, it's going to be up to them. Evil Eye's already gone. Woodknock thereafter. There's no way to fight into that one, and now it will be, if they're lucky, to see another mid-fight for Snappin' to try and fight back into it. Pickled Pepper, one conversion's all it takes to win this game. Look at their ult charges, Kresnik. I mean, 83, 54, yep. 66, 68. They're so close to getting them, and that'll come up right around peak push time.
We'll see if they want to spend him early, because they can spend him now and honestly get it again in overtime if the fight ends up going that long. It's going to be being close to his, and it looks like Barrage will be the first to come out. Reincarnated getting chunked early, but I guess did he just whiff a time and space and die? I don't even know what happened here on the flank, but it looks like they just got caught off guard by Stigma walking out in front of them.
Well, now they're just going to continue getting walked down. I was expecting maybe something different to change, but it looks like they're going to end up dying off here shortly, but something will happen, and you can see with the pause, maybe something going on there for Legacy or someone on that side as they fall back. 1:40 left on the clock, though, Kresnik. Plenty of time for them to try and pull back, heal up, fix whatever they're doing here in the pause, then get back into the fight and find this payload conversion to look for potentially the 4-3 win.
I was spectating possibly the worst possible person to be spectating when that pause happened, which is why I was making some faces there in the end, because we are just going to be listening to the sweet, soothing tones of the minigun from Rom going off. Eventually it will stop, but we'll see how long it takes for the Rom shots to end. It looked like Legacy, the Victor crashed, while running away, so hopefully he will be back in the game shortly. Didn't, I think, change too much from them as the aggression still continues with Woodknock. Luckily, we don't have to listen to that sound again, but he will on his end. That's just what Rom is. The pressure comes in, 1.5 minutes left, and Snappin' are walking all the way down to their spawn.
Man, you know, that was kind of like a nice little white noise, though. So it wasn't the end of the world there for it. Either way, it's going to be good to get away from Woodknock for a little bit, see what can happen. Ults charged up here for Pickled Pepper. Want to see if they can use them appropriately to turn things around. Barrage still trying to get to the top. Good shot from Stigma again. Finding damage, but not finding kills. Maybe the big difference right now for Snappin' as to whether or not they can find this. 1 minute left to try and win it here for Pickled Pepper. Of course, overtime maybe changing some of that. They always have plenty there if they can hold on. But it's coming around this last corner. How much you're willing to throw out if you think you can do it. But only halfway done with only now 40 seconds left. I feel like we might see Pickled Pepper hold on to some of these ults and just wait for the next round. They've already used it through time and space, and they're going to pay for it already. Good shots, too much grouping. That Shaolin arrow got a lot of benefit.
I just can't. Watching them deathball is so ridiculous because I feel like as soon as Rom gets onto them, they just collapse. They're just distracting her. Wonderful, I guess, to just count the objective, but somehow they can't finish all the kills there, even with Evil Eye kind of pouncing so much sustain and healing, even with Cauterize 3 when they're all stacked on top of each other, and that ends up working for them after all getting crippled out. It's Wonderful sits on this cart, and they have resources to spend. Barrage, Whirlwind, and Seismic Crash potentially coming out here for them. We'll see what they want to spend. Again, another death ball here on the side. Everyone just staying away from Wonderful, saying, all right, Wonderful, take all the damage, and we'll see what all 4 of us stacked can do.
How much are you willing to spend? 3 ults left Question is whether or not they'll do it. A lot of damage coming down once again on the carries. They're going to be low, but healing up. There's the seismic crash, but it's only going to stun one, and not for long. Stigma does go down, but Wonderful lost his life in the process. Snapping. They just erased him and stopped him from getting in there. They use everything on Pickled Pepper. I mean, a barrage shot comes down. Whirlwind was used. They have nothing coming into this last mid.
That was all Woodknock. All Woodknock at the end. He just stood in the door. And that's all he had to do. Feel ulted to try to touch the cart after Wonderful went down, and Woodknock's thick, ROM body just blocked the door. He couldn't get line of sight on the objective, and Woodknock perfectly played that by just knowing, hey, I don't have to dash through here. I don't have to do anything. I just have to be in the way. And that was more than enough to deny any other contest there. Now they have a ton of other abilities to use, other ultimates up for them. Well, they're lacking some potentially on the side of Pickled Pepper, having spent everything. Crystal will be up soon, but they have to buy time for them to get there.
Already in control of the point. It's going to be Wonderful. Wall used preemptively to slow some damage down. Woodknock got about half health coming into this. Heat Haze is going to be popped. And the aggression's going to come through. In tandem is now Midnight. They look to get aggressive. And kill onto Wonderful might be a win here. If he can find it. Already making sure to get rid of him. Reincarnated into the backline. Double kill for the Zen. Looking to make it 3 with the spite locked down onto Emmett Payne. And Reincarnated comes in big for this last round. 66% and rising. At this point, it's just play defense.
I don't think they even have a chance to go in. It's just a Nari here, already dismounted, is Wonderful. No cooldowns either, so snapping. That great aggressive play, they knew they didn't have to chase that far, and it gives them the map. The Death Ball ran away. Wonderful was completely isolated, and they just cleaned up the rest of Pickled Pepper like that.
Hey, if that's what it's going to take, that's what it's going to take. A long trip to get there, but maybe not what they want to see if you are Pickled Pepper. Not the turnaround you are hoping for. Well played, though, at the end of the day. Be able to push us. I mean, that's as long as a Paladins game can go for all of it. So great first game to start the set off. That being said, wouldn't mind now, about 4 hours in, pick up some 4-0s. I'd love to see the dominance of one of these teams. Maybe that's just a personal preference.
Sorry, man. Sorry, Gore. I didn't... Well, I knew it was going to be me and you today, but I didn't know quite how much of a long haul we were into. But I just want there to still be good sets, and they are. I'm just happy we have good games to watch. People, first phase, were like, "Oh, we want the games to be competitive," and I think your prayers have been answered. If that's what you wanted, it's gonna be an interesting day if they keep up this kind of pace here, especially in North America. We'll have to see, though, what maybe went most wrong there. Unfortunately, I think I have to chalk it up to maybe the solo tank. I mean, Inara, it felt like took a lot of damage there, although I was going to try to say she maybe took the most in the game. 203, 106,000 more damage taken, though. Woodknock at 309k. What? That I don't think
That's a lot of damage.
I don't think I've ever seen damage taken that high. I'm dead serious. I don't think I have ever seen damage taken stat put up that high. I mean, he took triple more than he did. I mean, and we look at the KDAs. He didn't do great KDA wise, but I think he was the engaging tool in almost every single fight they had. He was all over them. Goes down, but 26 more assists than Bones, and that's all he had to do. He just had to be a threat that they had to look at on the side of Pickled Pepper, forcing them back to abandon Wonderful, which was how Snappin abused the strategy coming out of Pickled Pepper.
That's just, man, 2 and 14. Jeezy Pete's. That's a lot of damage. I'm still stuck on that more than anything. Maybe a swift turnaround there for Snappin as they go forward. Trying to dodge some of that damage might end up helping Woodknock going into the future, but we'll have to see. Bones also had a pretty stellar game there for support 1-3 and 25. So something I expect to see continuing going their way, but it is now up to game number 2. And whether Snappin can maintain control or if we'll end up seeing the other side come in and tie this up. Pickled Pepper trying to pick things back together and showcase what they won. It's actually highlighted there in chat. You look at the slash lines, you don't know who lost that one. You look at the points, though. That's where it comes through. The damage taken from that ROM is still just going to blow my mind. I feel like we've seen, 300,000 healing in the past, but it's hard to get to those numbers unless you go that long.
Yeah, the long game definitely, I think, adds up to the numbers. that they had. And Pickled Pepper, after taking an L, they want us to go to Jaguar Falls, it seems. So a flat map where they can play some of their flat champs. Torvald definitely will be enabled if they want to do that here. Also, we've seen some Lex from them, so that could be a choice here potentially on map 2 of this. And I will get picks and bans ready as quickly as humanly possible. I don't know if they can even ban all the hit scans. We're going to see, I think for sure, we're going to see some Vivian getting banned. I think she's just super impactful on this map. Unless Snap and think they can draft this crazy dive comp that they had and use that to kind of just mitigate the value that Vivian will bring.
We'll have to see as we move forward. And Jag Falls, as you had mentioned, an interesting map that always comes through. Very interesting picks that can come out. You had highlighted Lex already, and I think he's an interesting one to come through. But Vivian, I wouldn't be surprised if she maybe gets taken away. Androxus, as you just did, was taken away there. So a lot of these hit scan champions that have just been prominent in every other map and every other meta as of right now, or every other region, I should say, as of right now. Not surprised to see them taken away.
Yeah, I think all the DPS that have been banned so far, I think it makes sense. Victor did a ton for them last game. It made that game really hard for Snappin to win. Androxus and Shaw, we know how much Androxus can do, and so does Pickled Pepper. And Shaolin is a comfort pick for Stigma, so deny that, and maybe they can play more flanks in Torvald again. It's a target ban against Pickled Pepper. They love playing it, so not surprised to see that go off to the side. But it leaves open this Vivian that is going to be impactful. I mean, even if she doesn't want to be, I think it's going to happen regardless. And the response from Snappin, I think, has to be biblical if they want to be able to overcome the pressure this Vivian's going to bring to them on this map.
Well, we'll see if they're able to get it and lock it down. It's looking like, ooh, Corvus Genos. You get both of the healers that everybody's wanting to snatch up. Maybe that's going to slow this Vivian down a little bit. Although I don't know if I see anything that truly locks her down. In fact, if anything, Pickled Pepper potentially go for something like a Moldamba, a really good healer, and especially synergize as well with that Inara. I don't know if you hurt them, but you definitely don't help them. So you come out net neutral, I guess, is the end of the way. I don't know if they have enough damage in those two picks to make the big difference.
Yeah, it may be, but they can at least sustain through a double-pocketed DPS, right? And if they can buy time, the Vivian can do more. If they can just buy time for the Vivian to keep shooting and apply that pressure, it could help. And I think they also deny best point tank and the best dive tank that's left. So diving Vivian's a little harder, and living on point in front of a Vivian gets even harder than that.
We'll have to see what Snappin decide to lock in. Tanks, maybe not necessarily scraping the bottom of the barrel. I forgot about Terminus, so that's a good reminder with him locked in there and what he is going to be bringing. But Zin, so one more DPS for Snappin, may be able to make the difference, whether they want to go for something like Cassie Leon, who are still available, or maybe go towards that Lex you had highlighted. Some of the flanks that we have seen could pair well with Zin, could be all aggressive, could be a Bomb King, fingers crossed, although again, maybe some external things causing Bomb King to fall to the wayside. Grover Tyra, Pickled Pepper got a really good draft for this. The only thing I think you could change would maybe swap out the ROM for a Ruckus. And honestly, they kind of hit the same marks for me. I think you're looking solid and set if you're Pickled Pepper here.
Yeah, for sure. I think having the Tyra and the Vivian, both a lot of damage dealing, and they have that Zin to get on top of them, but Tyra can live through quite a bit with that Mercy kill on this last pick for Snap, and I think is going to be really important for how they play this, if they're going to dive, if they're going to just try to potentially poke and live, and it's going to be Tiberius. So Tiberius coming out for them, a decent backline, I would say, to trade into them when they dive. Combat Trance is very effective. Tigron's Fury specifically pierces shield, so if Vivian's fighting, you hit her with the blade, blow it up, she gets bursted for 1350, and then you can just shoot her feet with the Combat Trance. Some options. Plus the bouncing inside is going to not be bad either.
You know, Kresnik,
do I know?
I think we're going to an even game 3, and here's why.
Okay.
I really, really like Pickled Pepper's draft. I think it looked good on Jag Falls. Normally, that's nothing. I wouldn't call a game on that. I don't think I've seen Tiberius find success so far. I feel like I've seen
outside
him
of Brazil,
very few games.
Brazil.
And so maybe this turns it around for Evil Eye, but I don't know if I'm locking him in, relying on him coming into this. So Snappin maybe at a deficit because of that pick, but you'll have to see, as I believe it looks like Evil Eye is going to be piloting that one. We'll see if he can pick it up and lock it down, or if it all falls apart right here, right now.
I'm looking at the talents right now. Mercy Kill, not surprising to see on Pain. I think you want that DR. I have a feeling Stigma's going to switch. I would be surprised if he didn't. Yeah, he already has swapped to the Luminary. You get literally no benefit for Cripple Grip here in this composition. And Terminus, I want to mention, I wouldn't be surprised to see Woodknock swap to Crush. It is a specific counter pick to the Vivian. If she shields, you can crush that shield right back down, and then kind of just completely negate that value from the Vivian. Booby Trap will be the talent for them. And Crush and Guillotine both swapped to at the last second, so some Vivian counter flexibility and the ability to burn down those tanks a little bit faster.
Yeah, well played from Snappin'. Good eye on you to make sure we keep everything locked in there to know what they're running. Pickled Pepper looking to try and get aggressive. Woodknock taking a lot of damage, though, and ends up being First Blood Legacy. Credit for that one. Reincarnated on the side here. Forced to fall back. Shots are flying at him. Looks like it's going to be Pickled Pepper who gets to move in because of that First Blood and take control of the objective.
Yeah, I think they didn't need to send the Terminus to point. I think that was the misstep. Having him go point when they got surrounded. They needed to focus on map control first and then that later, but can't think about that now as they're just getting... Maybe they don't have to think about anything with how aggressive Pickled Pepper is. Legacy running them down on the far left side. Actually misses the dismount on Stigma, but cancels the dash so he doesn't get gripped. And they can keep their forward positioning. No one will be able to touch the point with Evil Eye falling a little bit late. And Pickled Pepper, a dominant start off of the back of one Terminus pick.
I mean, it works out pretty well for them. And now Bones, the rest of them, all locked inside their base already. I mean, very difficult to try and break out of here. And once that dirt path turns to stone, you typically see a little bit of a snag in the aggressive. Pickled Pepper aren't really letting a lot go down, even with Legacy picking that up. This is maybe a good angle for Tiberius to come in handy. Hasn't necessarily been able to do much so far here for Evil Eye. So this would be a good time for him to shine.
They could Blade Dance to engage here. Woodknock's already decently aggressive, but they don't know how stacked up the entirety of Pickled Pepper are. You get that first kill, team split, and that's a lot of damage kind of out of the picture for them, leaving this Vivian kind of alone. A stun comes in, and it gets the booby trap too, and the aggression from Snappin' just doesn't stop.
Yeah, works out well for him now, getting super aggressive. One more kill for Reincarnated would be nice. He finds two earlier. Evil Eye Woodknock find these last couple. 1 minute 30. And you know what, Kresnik? We might just be in for another 3-3 fight. Maybe I'll take it slow this game unless something picks up. This is the pace these teams are setting. Very strong point fight from Pickled Pepper. Don't want to break my voice 4 hours in just to lose the last one. Well, it feels like could be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 minutes of a stream. Either way, it's the ult here from Legacy that's going to be able to lock down a couple. No follow-up, though, once again. And that's going to be another... Well, just huge ROM ult. Doesn't find everything it needs to. Still, the damage is going to be persistent. Looks like the lockdown onto Snappin' is going to be enough. Woodknock goes down last of all. Well, I guess technically Corvus does. Bones there in the background. So with 45 seconds left, they start aggressing once again on this payload. There's still plenty of time to defend. And Reincarnated's way back there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to mean anything.
Yeah, we'll have to see as he gets a little bit closer. But he is distracting, but they know he's there. He did get hit by the booby trap. Looks like Pickled Pepper actually smart. They just disengage. They don't have the ability to cross that gap quickly enough. So they're walking in. They try to get the time and space to follow up, and Field tanks it with his damage reduction. And the Whirlwind gets forced out by Woodknock, so fortunate from them, but they're just kind of giving all charge to the Woodknock completely isolated, but it's a 4-man crush.
Well, looks good so far for him. They find Pain, and they're looking to burn down Skeppy. They get through that shield like it's nothing. Reincarnated in the process. Still 3 for 1. Definitely more in your favor if you're Snappin'. Looking for this defense. Still contested right now. And I think this is what the two tanks are going to be able to bring to the table for Pickled Pepper. But it's only going to take so long before somebody goes down. Healing, good. Not good enough, though. Everybody fall back too far, or I guess get killed off too far. That's going to result in a 1-1 tie going to Snappin'.
Damage-wise, Reincarnated is pretty high off the charts, but look who's right behind him. It's Rom for his team. I mean, it's Evil Eye, and then it's Rom. Rom top damaging right now for Pickled Pepper and top fragging. I think that goes to show how much they're focusing, I think, the DPS shutdown potential onto this Tyra and this Vivian. The Terminus is trying to stay aggressive into them to deny them any chance to apply that damage they would be otherwise. Take a look at the loadouts here and the healing feel, I think, getting outpaced quite a bit by Corvus Genos, but that is not surprising. I think that's about what you'd expect from a Corvus Genos combo. Tons of healing all the time, plus the passive benefits that they grant as well. So we start this next mid-fight, opening with an Entropic Breach just to deny the point, it looks like.
Well, they're going to try to get aggressive here. Legacy already gone. And that Breach, making sure to lock down anyone and everyone, save for Wonderful, who doesn't seem to care about standing on the point right now, or doesn't seem to care about anyone trying to stop him from standing on the point right now. We're going to have to fall back. Damage from Pain seems to be good so far, but it's 24-15. Nothing heavily in their control. Snapping, still trying to figure out their way back into a lot of low health bars for him, specifically Corvus. Able to get taken down and found by Legacy. Once again, a good stun there. Stigma gonna go down. Reincarnated as well. Triple kill for Legacy. Woodknock has that reanimate, but it's not gonna use it, since he'd only be there with Evil Eye. I'm surprised Evil Eye is still alive through all of that. He's just hanging out back there, and they don't seem to care too much about this Tiger.
I mean, I don't know if they know. They might have a booby trap there just to slow him down, but let's see how he goes in for this. Right now, they hear him actually coming, looks like already being pre-aimed, but he blade dances. It gets rooted in front of the point. He never even has a chance to touch. But that perfect throw by Feel, stopping him completely. Snappin still want to get aggressive, though, with that crush coming in. If they hold off on the Resurrect, the rest of them are sent reeling back to the spawn.
I love to see a good play like that from Pickled Pepper, maybe even more so than Snappin trying to go for the sneak. They capture their second point, and at this point, this is where I think you have to look at the economy. 600 credits now in favor of Pickled Pepper, that Snappin do not have. But we'll have to watch to see if they can keep things going this way. 2 minutes left, payload already halfway through. Last time they got into the base and stalled out. We'll see if they can keep up their paces.
Early kill and Reincarnated will kind of open things up for them, I think, with them pushing here. But the Crush, they actually canceled. He used the shield to counter it, but it goes the other way around. But the Whirlwind will keep him up. Not sure if they're going to spend the Resurrect, but they shouldn't at this point. And Pickled Pepper might just roll this straight through. Evil Eye trying to do damage, but Rooted takes a lot. And they have no tank able to stop this.
Damage is good. Skeppy able to get one kill there under Reincarnated. Terminus nowhere nearby. Respawns maybe too slow. They're going to just dance around in base. 3-1 lead, Pickled Pepper. And they're the ones that I'm maybe giving a little bit of credence to as they come through. Lifesteal, movement speed picked up here by this Vivian. You can see Skeppy difficult to touch. 4-2 and 10, not as much as Legacy's 9-3 and 7, but still providing a lot for the team.
I mean, that is a wild stat line for a ROM right now. And people, you know, sometimes in ranked, someone picks Genos in the other team and they're like, oh, you picked ROM, GG feed. Yeah, you got Genos, what are you going to do? And I think Legacy's showing you exactly what you can do if you're good at ROM. You just make room, they have to look at you, and maybe your team gets the kills, maybe you get the kills if chance is on your side. But either way, you're still making space that has to be answered, and Snappin don't really seem to have an answer for it quite yet.
We'll have to see if they can figure it out, because this is their last chance, at least on this map, that's going to be able to come through. But we'll have to see. We get forward. 3-1. 12% already on the point. Evil Eye looking to get aggressive. 2 charges, 3 charges of Result being used here to slam down this Inara. Finally, credit for the kill. Legacy. Wonderful. Both tanks gone for Pickled Pepper. That 40% is definitely going to be rising fast. Snappin might have just sealed their deal into a point and a payload push. They're going to be able to lock it down with Skeppy going down. Looks like Pain shortly here after these tanks. They're going to have to slip through undetected, and unfortunately, they're seen, gripped, and locked down, but there's the touch from Legacy deep into the back line. Overtime going to be coming through, but it's him versus the world. Everyone else on his team is dead or far away. Still working out for him. In fact, he's on the point. It's Reincarnated, going to be able to turn around everyone looking to lock it down. 1 kill. That should be the point. Bought some time. Nobody's close. That means Snappin's still alive.
Match to stay in the game with another point cap. I think that was great by the end, that peel by the Siphon. One of the best things Terminus can do is keep his team alive, because Siphon for yourself, everyone expects that. They're going to stop shooting you. You're not going to get charges, but Siphon on the enemy, you're going to save your teammate and get yourself some extra stuff here. But Evil Eye, forgetting how much damage Vivian does, takes a lot of early poke, and the space is open for Wonderful to just walk in, but early rotation forces out the world.
And then getting rid of ults like that, big door opener. If you're Snapping, Reanimate should be used here and will be used, but there's the Seismic Crash waiting for him to respawn, and this is going to look like maybe a useless ult for Woodknock. Comes up, goes down one more time. Now they're going to get team wiped and, I don't know if the term eviscerated applies, but let's say eviscerated anyway, because they're going to get locked back into their base. Good control. picked up for Snappin'. Now, it's just whether or not they can continue to maintain here in game number 2. Pickled Pepper, you can't win off this defense. You're just looking for that next mid and all the control you can bring with you.
Yeah, I think they need to, what Snappin' need to do right now is say, all right, we might not cap this, but we need res. We need our Terminus to get res, so at least take fights so we can charge it up. We'll see what Evil Eye's actually doing in the back, rooted at the very end of his whirling assault from the Blade Dance. And now he just has to, they have to give up some ground. Evil Eye tried to make room, but it just wasn't enough, and Woodknock is not charging as much ult as they need him to. Still sitting only at 25%.
That's good news if you're a Pickled Pepper fan. Bad news if you wanted this to be a 3-0. Doesn't look like Snappin' having much control, and without that reanimate, might not be able to find its way into the next round. At least not adequately enough to find a win. Legacy goes down, though. That's going to open up the door for Snappin' to come back in. Get on this payload. Start moving it forward, but it's so far away, Crescent. We have 30 seconds in overtime. I feel like I've seen that. We've watched so much Paladins that I find it hard to believe we haven't, but it's going to be difficult either way for Snappin' to try and make a run like this.
It's still doable, though. I mean, overtime snowballing can happen anytime, basically, and I mean, Snappin' have resources if they want to spend it and risk being down potentially in the potential final fight of the game. But a lot of poke. Look at this early Stigma getting chunked for 750 right now. We'll cut to Wonderful and see his POV on the objective. Let me get a top down actually here. And some science that I forgot we had. There's one fight happening in secret as a wall isolates Woodknock. No res. He needs to get it, but the fire, look, it's spreading exactly where he wants to go. Wow. Unlucky, and that's a lot of early damage, but they do get the Whirlwind Force by Reincarnated's flank.
And they get the kill onto Pain. Looks like Woodknock will go down, so it's still an even trade. Without that tank, there's not a lot of body to stand on this payload and try to stop things from moving forward. Evil Eye goes down. That overtime timer falls faster than either of the health bars previously. It keeps Pickled Pepper in charge and large, looking like they might be able to turn this around. But you had called it out early. They needed Woodknock to charge up more of his ult. 71%, maybe not as much as they wanted, but at least he's got that far.
Yeah, it's something, and he'll potentially be able to get it. Maybe one good crush, and they can follow up, get some damage, and get some ult charge off of that. Feel would be a good person to take down, get that streak, and to be able to get some bonus ult charge from that, even though it's probably not many kills. It'll still be a small boost for him, hopefully. And we'll see what Snappin' want to do. A lot of ultimates here. They can get an execute with that guillotine, which could help significantly, but I still don't know who they're going to find if they have Grover healing there, or if they hit the ROM with it, or if Wonderful's in the way with DR. They just can't make it happen.
Well, shots already on the Evil Eye. A lot of healing trying to keep this man alive, but it's not going to work. There's a good ult, though. Spite to lock down Legacy. Reincarnated, credit for that one. So far, 2 for 1 with Stigma going down. Reincarnated following up. Pickled Pepper, large in charge, and looks like they could seal the deal here. A couple of ults still available, and now the respawn from that Genos could be crucial. You hit a big ult here, you give your team the opening they need. Corvus gonna go for the slow field. Tiberius gonna be running on in, but Evil Eye just runs to his doom. 99% overtime ticking. It's gonna be up to Woodknock to try and come in, but he's not gonna be able to focus on the objective. Nobody gonna be able to get the touch in time. Reincarnated doing that dance, and they've just been able to swap it between the two of them just well enough. 99 looking to turn to 100. Pickled Pepper finally close this one out and tie up the set.
Yeah, great play at the end by them, just having Tyra Vivian. How do you push either of the lanes? I think they did a decent job, but the way that they controlled the objective made it so hard for them to get in. Just that early wall, normally you're like, oh, save your wall for when you're in pressure, but they wall immediately. They get caught up top, and they're able to follow up right away by forcing them to take the sides, which is getting locked down by a Vivian and a Tyra.
Well, hey, it's exactly what you kind of expected in that draft, or at least what I was looking at in that draft, and things maybe lasted longer thanks to Snappin's level of play, but unfortunately wasn't able to save the day, get themselves up 2-0. So now we move again into that best of 3 territory. First to 2 wins after this is going to be the one who gets credit for it all. As we look at these numbers, a couple of 100,000 damage there for Reincarnated and Evil Eye, even though they were on the losing end of the game.
I mean, look at these stats and tell me Snappin lost. They had so much more heals. One healer alone had more healing than Field did. And then you add the 61,000 from Stigma. I get that the damage was spread more evenly, but it's just wild looking at that and thinking what the way it did. But maybe the KDAs will tell another story, and it looks like they do. Skeppy 13-4. Paying 6 and 4 on the follow-up there as well. Items much firmly more in the favor of Pickled Pepper because they won a bunch of mids. They got those 300 bonus credits to push them forward to itemize a little bit better.
And we'll have to see if that continues to play a role as we move forward with them. But well played, I think, point control once again from Pickled Pepper. And that's kind of the stuff that you're going to have to keep in mind, because that is the things that are separating these teams at this point. It are these, I guess, small little details that are in the game, some of which you might not know immediately, as we find ourselves in a 1-1 territory. That could change a lot, Kresnik, as we move forward. And this is the one where you have to wonder, you go to the loser's pick, what you're going to do as Snappin' to try and give yourself the lead. And lo and behold, it wasn't banned. I grimaced a little earlier when you said it. It's going to be Ice Mines.
I love listening to you fill time until I finish typing, because on the thing that puts all the information down, Ice Mines is at the very bottom. So for what Gore sees, guys, is I have text that I put in the names of the teams, so it all works on my end, and at the very, very bottom is a map, and Gore just wants to say it so bad the whole time that I'm doing it, because he can see my screen in the background.
Well, let's see. If I throw it to you while you're typing, there's a chance you might stop typing. And look, I'm telling you,
it is a long day.
It's already going pretty long, Kresnik. So I don't want to slow it down any more than I need to. And if that means I have to talk a little bit more to keep things even,
whatever it takes, Gore. Whatever it takes.
It comes through. Whatever it takes. Look, we're the Avengers here, but it's only me and Kresnik. It's like the Avengers, but there's only Iron Man and Captain America, and you're just like, man, all right, maybe we can't stop Thanos.
Jeez.
All right. That got dark.
Let's
it.
ignore that and go to the picks and bans, huh? Snappin' first pick on Ice Mines. What will they ban? What do you think?
Okay, if I had to put money on it, Victor is going to be in a ban somewhere. Torvald should be in there because you said that earlier. Terminus, but I'll admit I cheated there a little bit.
You did.
I already said Victor. Grover wouldn't be a bad ban.
Grover wouldn't be a bad ban. It seems like
Dredge?
Pickled Pepper have gotten some value out of that. Dredge could be interesting, but it looks like Snappin' target backlines, it looks like. Get that Strix out of the picture. Don't want that on this map. Maybe opens the door to the Kinessa, if that's what Snappin' want. It is Stigma on Ice Mines, and that's something that he's always kind of falled back to.
We'll have to see. Yeah, a bunch of tanks taken out here. Hey, guess who's alive and still available? Inara, Victor, Vivian, and, well, Rom wasn't on my list of things I expected to see go to the top, but I guess if it's comfort, go ahead and snag it.
And not only just comfort.
Victor, Bomb King, very good here as well.
I wouldn't say it's not just comfort, but I think getting rid of Torvald and getting rid of Atlas opens things up for Rom quite a bit. Torvald can nullify Rom and they can burn him down because he can not only, yes, other characters cancel his dash, but they don't stop Soul Harvest and they don't stop Ignition, both cooldowns that are usually spec'd in the build to give Rom this level of sustain. Nullify stops it all from the Torvald, so with Atlas gone as well, so Rom stays in the fight. Even when he gets CC'd, Rom can make a lot of room. Not surprised to see him going that fast with how the North American meta has been going. And the response for Pickled Pepper will be the double supports, the double pocket supports, the same thing that did decently for Snap in last game, and Pickled Pepper think they can do it better.
We'll have to see. On Ice Mines, anything can happen, so we'll have to figure that out. But Rom, Inara, I don't know. Vivian as well. It's not strong yet from Pickled Pepper. I guess Zin is someone we've also seen pretty solid on this map as well. So maybe they're going to go that way and see if he can do anything. But I don't know. I'm looking at this Vivian. I'm looking at the Inara. I think the combo of them are going to be enough to stand pretty high on that point and slow down Pickled Pepper, especially with that Kinessa locked in. That's a lot of good DPS, a lot of good control from Snappin' here.
Snappin', it is kind of a mix though, because Rom wants to go in, Vivian and Kinessa don't really want to, so it's about how much space I'm assuming Reincarnated is going to try to take on this Rom. They could also put Reincarnated on the Inara, because Woodknock clearly is comfortable on that, but these are both Woodknock picks, so they can still kind of remain flexible, and the last pick still available for them. Hard to say. They have two pockets. They want someone who will do well with that, and Lex will be that. So Lex with Discovery, I'm assuming, what we've seen, 50% lifesteal stacking with the boost. He's the Discovery Lex build stacks so much on what the pockets give you. So he has a ton of lifesteal, he has a ton of damage. He gets a damage boost and a lifesteal boost from his build. Corvus Genos do even more of that. So Lex really benefits a lot from the Genos Corvus combination.
We'll see if it'll make the difference here. I'll just admit, I'm on the fence about it, but I'm always willing to see new things and get proven wrong, at least for some of this. So we'll have to see if they're able to do it. Let's move into game numero 3.
Oh.
I did it.
You did do it. That is the second time today.
As I once again just say it like that. Trace, either way, it's going to be Pickled Pepper that are testing the waters, at least for me. I'm excited to see what this Lex can do. I like your reasoning, but this is not the map I think of when I think Lex. I'm thinking Bright Marsh when I think Lex. I'm thinking Jag Falls when I think Lex. Ice Mines isn't high on that list, but hey, his revolvers look good. He looks good. We'll see if we can do it here for Pickled Pepper. Either way, it'll be interesting to see who takes the lead.
It is a flat map, so I think Lex can work 100%. He doesn't need that verticality when there is almost no verticality to be had here on this map. Low on Cauterize, so Damba will have, I think, a field day healing on the other side, but I want to point out this caught life rep start for Skeppy. This is how you mitigate the nerf to Predator. He's even running it lower, Predator 4, letting life rip kind of make up for some of that. If you run Predator 5 and you buy life rip 2, you have 39% lifesteal. That is literally pre-nerf values minus, point something percent. So a lot of benefit there. We'll see how aggressive Pickled Pepper get with this Lex. Early shutting them down, and he has that wall hack on Evil Eye with the Retribution mark to see exactly where they are. So space already being taken, and just gotta find out a matter of time until they decide to dive in.
Damage seems to be good. Fire rate from Pain is absolutely insane right now, but it doesn't seem to be changing too much. They're getting aggressive, but no first blood as of yet. Wonderful, pretty low. I'm sorry, Wood Knock over there, pretty low. 2 tanks with W's at the beginning, gonna cause some confusion. Shield going down. Kinessa looking for some shots. Not able to find any alive going into the fray, but it's Evil Eye first to fall, and now looks like Inara might be the next one to come after the wall. Gonna be good. The lockdown pretty solid. Damage follow-up not gonna be there. The healing is all you need when you're an Inara though, and so she's gonna be able to stay alive. Same thing for Wood Knock there. Feels like him and Pain doesn't get much. Goes for the execute. Doesn't find really anything off of that. No kills, maybe a little bit of damage. Reincarnate is just going to be able to walk out alive. Maybe could have held on to that. Tried for something more, but it's 93% Kresnik. I don't know why I didn't even look up, but the percentage on the point, all in favor of Pickled Pepper. They've just been slowly taking it without Snap and answering back.
I mean, there's no Wrecker in the way. Look at this early ultimate. They actually might catch out Wonderful here. He does fall, so that 99 doesn't matter quite as much. What else can they get? Can they push forward? It looks like, no, they're a little afraid. They don't want to move in because they don't have the comp for it. Vivian Kinessa can't really push all the way around, so they'll just play their cap for now and give Pickled Pepper a chance to regroup and refight. Woodknock uses his dash just to rotate because he can't engage with it with these DPS that he's being paired with.
Well, that 99%, like you said, might not look so big anymore, but Wonderful is going to be back in the fray. It's just getting back onto the point. It's going to be difficult. The damage onto Stigma, that's a great opener. And now you're eating the damage down. You get reincarnated low enough, you've got that execute coming online there, but that's going to be a great stun, at least one onto Skeppy if they can follow up with it. But again, it's just the ruin of a ROM and no follow-up means nothing for Snappin'. So they're going to be able to walk away once again. Pickled Pepper taking the first point here, but we've seen this turned around before. We're not going to let it stand in the way now, but if Pickled Pepper can keep up this pace, I already feel like I'm saying my own form of a tongue twister. Either way, if they can keep up the pace, then we'll find ourselves at a 2-0, which is rare to see on Ice Cream.
Early, actually. Look at that barrage. It catches that Evil Eye. Vivian, if you're not looking down, you can't block that immediately. They're just taking so much ground here. This Lex is, like, unanswered. He's almost on his third ultimate, by the way, already. He used 2 on the first mid-fight and is already 65% to his third. I want to check this damage charts, and okay. That is a stark gap between Lex and everybody else. For highest DPS on Snappin' has 17,000. And Pain has 51 on this Lex. Just baiting these sightlines here. Can't push right now, but as soon as his tank is in, he'll be able to take that space.
And just watch that percentage. It just charges up so quickly. It looks like, what, 3% a shot so far. Maybe 2% as of right now, depending on who he hits. Good seismic crash, looking for the lockdown on this Lex. But it's one of those, am I locked in here with you or are you locked in here with me? And Payne answers that question. Reincarnated locked himself in there with the Lex, the lockdown, good enough. He's able to get that kill. Rom jumps down. Might end up causing him some trouble, trying to buy time, mainly for the respawn. Nara coming back up now, and that is a chonky boy standing on that payload, stopping him from moving forward. Barrage available. Looks like retreat coming out from Pickled Pepper, some of them backing off, and letting a little bit of room breathe here for Snap.
Evil Eye found a great opening. Notice that they only have one tank, and he had dropped to the low ground, so that space would be kind of uncontrolled. I find it interesting that Reincarnated is the one getting aggressive and Woodknock's the one contesting, but I guess utilizing the wall where it could be best used makes the most sense. But Woodknock actually took a step back. That cart rolled in, and now he can't play that same position. Same opening is still there. Evil Eye tries to abuse it and forces Skeppy back.
Good shots once again from Evil Eye. Locking down this frog-headed Lex. That's going to be difficult, and unfortunately, they still haven't been able to do so. Pickled Pepper able to ring true, and his movement speed. I always forget this about Lex. The man zooms, and it seems like he's doing fine just now. That Oppressor Mine may be doing more damage than he would have liked to think, though. Good wall from Reincarnated. 5 seconds left, but the payload's contested right now. Execute's available. You just got to get him low enough and keep him low enough. That's the key for something like an Inara. He's able to teeter in and out of that execute phase. So close. He's going to be able to get the kill here. Trades out his life. Good snipe coming down from Genos. Not going to be able to find the kill, but going to be able to lock away a couple for his team to pick up. And now it's just Woodknock versus the world. Still contesting. And that's going to be enough. Looks for anything, but unfortunately just buys time. Payload moving forward. Inara forced to run forward into it. Does not have enough healing behind her. The wall going to be able to keep her alive over time. Ticking true. Fortunately for them, didn't even get the kill on the Inara. Just enough of a push back. And it's going to be enough to walk that one in. 2-0 for Pickled Pepper. Starting off Ice Mines.
Oh,
and Undying?
Yeah, they've been living quite a bit of time. That was so unfortunate by Reincarnated. I'm sorry, I'm still dwelling on that because he couldn't see exactly where the line of sight from the cart was. So he took a step to the side behind the ice blocks to make sure he wasn't going to get burnt down immediately when his wall went down. But that breaks line of sight to the cart. The geometry of those ice blocks are a little bigger than you think. So he just walked off the cart effectively. He had to stay on there. Ice Mine, such a difficult point to contest once it gets that close. Didn't even give Stigma or Evil Eye a chance to really fight the rest of his team. I mean, it's just a small misstep, but it can lead him to that. And look again at these damage charts. A combined 167,000 damage for these two DPS, or only less than 70k for the two DPS on the other side. It's just unbelievable.
Time for them to try and turn this one around. Kinessa shots already lined up. Damage not looking too great. That's going to be a good Immortal, keeping that Fernando in the game, but he's low as of right now. Barrage, one shot down, one shot canceled. I guess two shots canceled there. Fun to be able to keep that 40%. Good seismic crash comes through from Inara, and it's going to be enough to almost, but not quite, lock down the Lexi. Stays alive and turns it around. Evil Eye going to go down here alongside Woodknock and Reincarnated. Stigma as well with all of them. Pickled Pepper turn that fight on a dime. And now they're in command at this point.
Yeah, Corvus, Genos, and Nando is pretty good. I am not surprised to see it getting that much value. And look, hey, no peel because they're just on there. Killing Bones is such a massive stagger, and they're going to get the follow-up too amid Pain. This man just can't be stopped.
And the shots are just still ringing true. Kinessa, you see her in a wood-bound area, and you're either thinking she's on defense or she's right there next to the point. She is fully locked away right now inside her base. Same with the rest of Snappin'. Easy peasy for Pickled Pepper as they continue walking forward. This payload should get a lot of ground with this much aggression. I don't anticipate them slowing down anytime soon. Looking potentially for the 4-0, 3-0 right now as they march it forward. Barrage just used again. One shot came down, no shot follow-up. That 40% is going to be maintained well enough. And good grenade back there to the Kinessa. They're just trying to maintain control. Woodknock going down. It's bad news bears, and Snappin' still locked in their base.
So being pocketed here by the Nando. I can see this coming in from the side. Reincarnated has been executed by the Lexalt like 6 times or something by now. I don't think it's been that insane, but he's just constantly falling to it. Already 20% on the next one is this Lex. So much damage being used right now, and they always have this grip available to stop this bomb from moving.
Well, finally, He's going to get locked down once again, and I say finally because he might not respawn in time to do anything here. This one's walking right on in. No one's close enough. Finally, the touch from Stigma, the teleport, forced out. Barrage is coming down, Reincarnated trying to stay alive. We've seen this game one too many times. Dread Serpent looking to try and keep things rolling for him. Reincarnated, the only thing standing between Pickled Pepper and this win. Half health right there. Bones doing everything in his power to keep everyone moving forward. Evil Eye burned down, Reincarnated as well, and Pickled Pepper move themselves up 2-1 in the set.
The Ice Block's coming to play again. I mean, Reincarnated was about to die anyway, but that just shows you exactly the line of sight you can't take while still contesting the cart. Geometry that is pretty big and just unfortunate there at the very end. It's so well executed by Pickled Pepper, and I am actually so excited to see these stats because I want to see how insane it actually ended up being. I'll pull those up for us right now, and oh, okay. So 131,000 for Pain, 128,000 for Skeppy in a 4-0 in, I have the time right here, less than 10 minutes. On Ice Mines. Unreal. That's how you play Corvus Genos. I mean, they had a perfect draft for it. Nando brought extra peel, and when you're just constantly enabling your DPS that much, they're going to get away with that.
Hey, it looks good for them there. I can't talk about them enough, I think, being able to come through with that. Damage numbers, slash lines, gameplay, everything you just saw pretty much comes right into their favor. So a lot of pressure now on to Snappin' to try and turn it around. But I don't know, Kresnik, that one felt a little bit more convincing. Now we're still in the area of
I agree.
Pick for maps. But when you have a 14-0-8, a 14-1-7 slash lines, you start to sweat going into this last map, wondering what you're going to see.
Yeah, and we'll see where Snappin' want to take us as I prepare to take us into there. I'll bring the camera back to us as well. It looks like the next map choice, I'll tell you this so you don't have to wait for me to type it in, Gore, is going to be Shattered Desert. So the next map, Snappin's choice for that. That's where they want to go, and I guess it makes sense, right? We get kind of rolled over on a close range map, so let's go to a nice open map.
I'm just floored. I've seen more Shattered Desert today than this year. I mean, it just feels like this map was, and I do think for a portion of it, it was out of the rotation. So there is like that, I guess, to take in mind. But also, I mean, just knowing that teams have been banning it, teams do not typically pick it up, but it's kind of making its rounds, much like it did towards the latter half of last year, where it became very important. It's maybe up to Snappin' to pick up the pace here. You said wide open. Snipers have come to mind. We've also been looking at flanks on this map pretty often today, but we'll have to see who comes to fruition. We already saw Evil Eye run Maeve, and she was big here. And we've already talked about Torvald, so I expect he's going to be banned. The question will then be snipers and what have you.
Yeah, we'll see. Strix already banned, so Pickled Pepper, their response, I mean, it could be they've been banning the Atlas, they've been banning some other tanks, but Kinessa instead coming out for them. So both snipers now gone. They both think they're strong enough on this map to kind of warrant that early ban from them. And Snappin', I have a feeling, probably because I was typing the name in as I said that, but Torvald follows as well. Don't want him there. Pickled Pepper really prioritized that pick, and it brings him a strong support line there. I was trying to keep going with the P's after I realized I did prioritize pick, and I could not find any lane to take after that one.
Pickled Pepper prioritized picks.
Pickled Pepper prioritized that
potentially
pick.
Going for Pip. Nah, it's at that point. I mean, potentially going for Pip, yeah, technically, but let's be honest, there's no way. I see that.
Not on this map.
I mean,
Shattered Desert in a hit scan Metacore Miser.
I mean, maybe. If you're really feeling yourself, you could try to make it work. It's not gonna happen.
If Snappin' PayPal'd them some money, maybe. I just would not expect them to go for that on a map like this.
No, there's no way. I could talk my way out of a box, but I can't talk my way into Pip on Shattered Desert, especially in a hit scan meta.
Gort, did you cast that game when my team ended up getting forced to play Pip on Frog Isle? You might have been on desk for that. I think we were. I think we got casted by Evan and Nick that game. I don't know.
The good days. You didn't have to listen to my voice. You had Rain Day and pretty hair. Everything was golden.
No, Golden Boy wasn't there. He was there only for the World Championships.
That was only for World Championships.
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't want to burst your bubble, but I just remember.
I like there were two ways you could go down that avenue. One of them was to try and lift me up, and you were like, nah, you're trash. But Golden Boy, yeah, he's sick too. Like...
No, you said Golden. I was going off that lane. No, Gore. I don't have the mental capacity to be funny. You said the word Golden, so I just did word association. That's as far as I can go for 5.5 hours counting prep.
Strong. Jeez, that is long. Right. 5.5 hours counting prep. 4.5 hours here. Pure casting. We've had a 10-minute break total.
Yes.
Through all of this. So thank you all, I guess, for hanging out with us all day on a Friday for what could be the last game. We could be looking at potentially another hour here. You might have to strap in. So I hope you had your dinner, your snacks, your drinks, whatever.
I haven't.
Because we're going forward. I've had about 4 glasses of water in just this stream, not including the one that I chugged after my 2-mile run this morning. All right, so we've been going hard today, and we haven't been going hard on these picks and bans.
Very quickly, I was about to say,
Eevee.
Yes, I was about to go over it. Genos, Vivian, Nando, Rom on the side of Pickled Pepper. So I think they really want another support to tune that up because they have 2 tanks and a Genos, unless they have a really self-sustaining flank. And Corvus, Victor, Andro, Atlas, Eevee. So solo tank Atlas, setback can be huge, but I feel like I haven't really seen Woodknock play Atlas. That's my biggest question mark, is how strong is... I mean, Woodknock's a fantastic player on the champions we've seen. I just haven't seen his Atlas, and that's definitely a character you have to grind to know how to play.
Man, I'm going to be... So the Atlas is maybe a... What? I guess the opposite of a selling point. But that Eevee... It's something that gives me some confidence over there for snapping. I think it's one of those things that, especially against the players we know on Pickled Pepper, it's going to cause some trouble for them. There's a reason we typically see her banned in metas like this. So we'll have to see if they can keep it on going, or if they're going to, well, fall apart even with something as strong. Evil Eye's Eevee has been something to write home about in the past, and so I expect it to be just as deadly here. Just a question of whether or not they can make it work, and the question of whether or not Pickled Pepper can shut it down.
I mean, if this Lex performs, it doesn't have a Corvus backing it too, but if this Lex performs even 1% as good as it did last time, that is still going to be, I think, a big ask for them to kind of shut down. Snow Globe, I have a feeling that's not going to be what we see from Eevee, but I mean, maybe they want that double cripple for that ROM. That's the counter that they want to play her off of, but they have the Deja Vu as well. See what they do. Discovery still being ran, that extra lifesteal stacking with that damage boost. I think a phenomenal choice. Nando was point tank, kind of opens things up for Legacy, but ROM and Lex have to be moving together, or else I don't know if they'll have the damage just on the ROM to really clean up this sustaining backline with that Corvus there.
So it begins.
A lot on the line here for everybody. You're going to make a long stream happen, Pickled Pepper? You're going to end it here and now? Or are they going to find themselves a win, as I think the way they would rather have it worded? Pickled Pepper, the nice big loop around. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. Brain scrambled, snap it, looking for the loop around. They're not going to be able to find too much off of it, just a good positioning. This is very standard so far for Shattered Desert. Woodknock, question mark right now on this Atlas. Oof. That's a good headshot, but can he keep those up?
Maybe he actually could have splashed down Wonderful Shield right there, but chose to just damage it instead. A little high with that setback as well, but getting pressured. No shield resources, and right now Pickled Pepper taking the initiative here to surround them. Looks like they're not ready for this. I don't know if they know Legacy and Lex are behind them.
Well, shots looking good so far for Lex. He's going to be able to find that one. Field gets credit for it, but we saw where the damage came from. Pain, making sure that lockdown comes through without Evil Eye on board. Makes it a little bit easier to lock down, I think, the rest of Snappin', and they're going to be able to find that, well, I want to say with no problem, but Reincarnated, making sure it's not so easy for him. Look at that flame percentage. I mean, 90% to 9. Got tenfold what Snappin' have been able to pick up. Just been hanging out on the point, much like this there for Wonderful. So not too worried about their control, especially when you kill off Stigma, you kill off Reincarnated, you look for one more, maybe on the point, maybe on this Eevee. It looks like Woodknock will be that third that comes down. Evil Eye forced to run away and just stay away this time around. So they are going to be able to capture this point. Pickled Pepper in the lead.
It's so hard for Evil Eye right now because I think he really wants the Wormhole to be able to actually retreat after a fight, but he doesn't have it. He has Snow Globe. He has to commit to every movement he makes. I don't know. I have to look at this Eevee build. I want to see what kind of resets he has. Maybe kills. No resets even. So he has no way to chain mobility or snowball at all. He's just going to be playing this kind of passive poke style and hoping it's enough to stop the ROM. At least they open this fight up with a trade.
Yeah, and interesting, one of the few people who I think we've ever competitively see run Snow Globe, and I think that's just true historically. Not a lot of other players in years have ever run this talent, so an interesting pickup there for Snappin', for Evil Eye, and we'll have to see whether they are doing their best Major League Baseball professional pitcher impression with their throws, or if it's going to actually be the key to victory here, maybe a good amount of lockdown that can come down. Unfortunately for Evil Eye, he spent most of this game locked down so far. They're going to be able to walk this one forward. 3/4 of the way done, 1.5 minutes left to work with. This Lex, he's feeling fine.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even though he doesn't have that range, he can just commit all at once when the team needs him to. Run straight through there on the flank side. And look at this, they're just waiting for some pressure to happen up front. Look at this shielding right now. This is what Nando can do. He's moving up with the DPS behind him, doing a lot of pressure, but the shield's gonna come up. BS shield up again, and they spend the Immortal. Who can get us the point now? It has to be a DPS.
Well, they're gonna be walking forward 800 health lower. The healing gonna be good here for Wonderful. Just an absolute decimation of Snappin' there at the end there. Pickled Pepper pick up every kill they can and find themselves 2-0. 1 in 5 is that Eevee, the only person with that Snow Globe able to help try and lock down Legacy, but he's still 5-0-5 on that ROM. You don't have enough counters for him right now, and you can see it ringing true. Only 4 deaths total throughout the round.
I mean, and look at the damage charts too. He's below Nando, Aegis Nando. Aegis Nando just shields all game. He doesn't do damage, but I guess when you're winning this aggressively, you're able to do it. Snap and have to figure out something now. Shame they just can't go back and unchoose Snow Globe because Evil Eye has to play so dangerously, and they just have the answer to him. With this Lex, they just run in pursuit. Half of his health bar is gone. If he just hits 2 more shots from there, that's a dead Eevee, and that's a push, a 5v4 that Pickled Pepper can take.
Well, we'll see if Pickled Pepper can pick up win. I tried to think of a good synonym, but it just didn't grant itself to me. Legacy runs in way too deep and ends up giving his life. Now Wonderful looking to fall down shortly thereafter. No Immortal means no fight back. Comeback mechanic now fully in power for Snappin', so they're going to get 4% every tick, and they're going to accrue a ton in their favor over Pickled Pepper. But the question is whether or not they can hold on to it long enough. 75% and still rising. Doesn't look like anyone from Pickled Pepper's there. Legacy might be able to touch for the overtime. These 2 tanks are alone on an island.
They are still contesting the objective, though. They do find 1 thanks to the Snow Globe, but Wonderful with the shield, and they're not looking at Skeppy. It's only Evil Eye fighting him. The mid-pain stacking there as well, but the barrage connects onto 2, but finds no kills, and Wonderful still standing strong on the objective.
That's the control onto Woodknock right now. That's going to make the big difference for Pickled Pepper and staying alive in this. 99% still held true, but it's a pain. Again, in the backline, looking to run through anyone and everyone. Bones doesn't have enough damage on his own. Reincarnated, able to seal the deal to help out his teammates. Unfortunately, a little too late, almost too late for him. Forced to fall back. Atlas taken down during that skirmish. Pickled Pepper back in control of the point. No one going to be close by for Snappin' right now, and Reincarnated staggered out. Woodknock trying to get through, but it looks like Legacy going to be playing bodyguard here. Evil Eye not able to get there in time either. 3-0 up for Pickled Pepper, looking to try and run this one in, make it a 4-0 and a 3-1.
I want to see if they have a setup here for this potentially. Maybe they can call the positioning out with Discovery, with the wall hack here for the time and space, but for now, they'll just take it slow, but I guess a little bit too slow. Stigma catches Legacy. That lifesteal helps him stay alive, and now Snappin' have an opening there on the far right side.
Well, the question will be kind of sitting on our minds. The counters for ROM, not there on the side of Snappin'. Snow Globe picked up maybe to be that counter. Gonna have to wonder pretty much for the rest of the day, maybe the next week, if whether or not a nice wormhole Eevee could have just been distracting enough to buy some space, but unfortunately they don't have the courtesy of working with that right now. Blinks in, ice blocks down. There's no way to get out of here. Good Immortal, sorry, to lock them down and keep things running in their favor. Locking down Woodknock, locking down Reincarnated, and they're walking it forward one last time around the final bend. And Kresnik, this is where things are starting to get dire for Snappin'.
They need to get so much out of Woodnock sustaining on point here. If Woodnock dies immediately, I think this game is just over. They need Woodnock to stay alive for quite a while, and they're going to try to open the door for him with a barrage. Doesn't find anything right now. We'll get a top-down view of this. Evil Eye in the back, but hey, guess what? He can't get out. Two people staring right at him. He spends Snow Globe, but actually, will he live? He does!
Wow!
They hold on with 2 picks!
And they get the kill on Pain, of all things. Looked like he was going to live through it, but Skeppy still alive and on the high ground right now, locking down the sky. And so Reincarnated has no place to fly. Bones looking to teleport out of there, stays alive, but it's Woodnock that's going to get burned down. That payload moving forward, you're forced to run in if you're Evil Eye. You're forced to run in if you're Bones, but it's not going to be enough. The respawn can't come fast enough, and it's not going to happen here for Snap and Pickled Pepper in a 4-0. Seal out the day and find themselves a 3-1.
Yeah, what a turnaround. Because those first 2 maps were really close. I mean, yes, the first map for Pickled Pepper was definitely a little more in their favor than Snappin's map was, but that was just dominance on the last 2 maps. I felt like they just had them totally figured out.
It's unfortunate for them to have it fall apart like that. Very good fight at the very beginning, but hey, Pickled Pepper showcasing why they have been gravitating towards the top. A decorated roster that is coming through. Not surprising to see them successful. Maybe surprising to see them that successful at the very end. 2 4-0s to seal the fate. And this time around, they didn't break 100,000 damage, Kresnik, so maybe we don't get to talk too heavily
No
about
Corvus. That's why. They didn't have the double pocket. They didn't want to get quite as aggressive as it did last time. Also, it's a wider map, so that Lex is more following up and cleaning up on kills, as opposed to doing all the damage from 100 to 0, because he's already so close to them in these point-blank spaces. 74k, though, for Stigma. I think a lot of damage on his side, a little bit boosted by having the ROM receiving all that damage, where every single point you do to him is going to count towards your damage total, unlike fighting into a Nando or fighting into a Inara wall or all that. We'll look at the KDAs, and I feel like, yeah, Evil Eye, that Snow Globe was a mistake. He went 1-11 on Eevee. It's hard to justify when that's the performance. I get maybe they thought they needed a counter to Atlas, but they had Woodnock. They had the Atlas setback. Assuming he just goes to match Legacy, that's something they could have played off of.
Well, now it's unfortunate, I think, for pretty much anybody on Snappin'. They're not going to be able to take the day. Pickled Pepper. You know, it was kind of surprising. We were looking at the standings yesterday, talking about how we didn't expect them maybe to rise to the top, and now seeing them up there makes more sense as it comes through. So, hey, win for them is a win for us all as they close out the day here. A long day, Kresnik, as well. 13 games. We had 10 minutes total as a break throughout all of those. 3-1 in Europe and North America, 3-2 there in Brazil, which was a very spicy set.
What a game that was.
It just feels like, I mean, for week 3, incredibly contested.
Yeah, and week 3, all in all, since there's only 2 games tomorrow, that means that we are down 1 game, and I can actually tell you about that. Turns out Frog was a very sleepy boy the day these games were played and was not there for Project, oversleeping the match when that happened, so I can actually show you guys the standings for North America, and this is kind of weird to see. Pickled Pepper, 3-0 at the top, 6 plus minus. Snappin' and Team Prolific, both 2nd and 3rd. Bottom 3 in a row, Sanguine Flashpoint Project. That literally is a complete flip-flop. Maybe not Sanguine flip-flop, but that's more or less a complete flip-flop from last phase. I think Crazier than Crazier Project 0-3. And I'll admit, I've heard some whisperings about things going on down between the teams at the bottom, and we might see some fresh faces and new blood kind of mixed around in there to make the rest of this phase even more exciting.
Man, maybe needed to try and grind up from here. I mean, it's a long phase, so it's not the end of the world to be at the bottom. But like you said, if you had told me that at some point here in 2020 we fell through a rift, I wouldn't be too surprised, because it feels like everything is maybe falling apart, at least going different from what we've seen. Either way, North America closed out, and I'd like again to thank everyone for tuning in all day. From myself and Kresnik, it has been a wonderful day to cast with you here for some Paladins. Make sure you tune in again tomorrow to watch the final set that's going to be broadcast. But until then, we'll see you next time.
What?